Hi, everyone. It's Tee Westbrook, and welcome to a new episode of Cool Girls Create. And y'all, I am super excited because I'm here with a very special guest. Her name is Shiondria. And our story is one that I think would be inspiring because we met each other through just networking. And I popped up at one of her events in Chicago. So we'll get into it. Welcome, Shiondria. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be sitting here and talking to you. I feel like it's been a long time coming. So let's start with this. Do you remember how we met?
Yes, at the content party. You came to the very first content party to go friends through, and we had an amazing time.
Yeah, and it's funny because I joined your group, the Goalfriendz, and we'll get into it in just a moment. Looking for community. And so when I saw that content party in Chicago, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in town already. So when I got there, the energy was great, and it was my first time seeing a content party. So you introduced me to that idea. So just for our audience who is tuning in, Shiandria is someone who is, I deem to be a creator, a creative. So she's a singer-songwriter, and she's also an event curator. And she has a group, a Facebook group and community, called Goalfriendz. And she's amassed over 100,000 people in this group, y'all. I think it's 113,000 to be exact right now, but she's been able to grow this group exponentially. Um, and I'm excited to get into the conversation. So, you ready to talk about it? So, let's start with your journey. So, you're from Chicago, but tell me a little bit about your background. Like, how did you end up here in the space of building community for women?
So I really come from a family just filled with women. I have all sisters, never had brothers, and then I only have two uncles, and I come from a aunt to uncles. There are a total of nine of them. So there aren't many men in our family, and even though I have sisters, we're really spread apart in age. My older sister is 9 years older than me, and my little sister 6 years younger than me. And when you're a kid, that 6 years is a lot because I'm 16 and she's 10. It's what do we have to talk about? Because you're in middle school, I'm in high school, there's nothing to talk about. So I always was just looking for someone that was like-minded, my age, that I can do things with. And I feel like as a woman after college, it's hard to make friends for us. We can't walk up to people like guys can and be like, "Hey, that's my bro." Now, women don't do that. It takes time for us to build that trust and build that friendship and really build that bond. So fast forward to during COVID, I was looking for that, but I couldn't go outside to find it. So I was like, you know what? Let me look online for this and see if I find something like it. And I didn't. Every group that I found had so much drama and so much messiness and so much cattiness. And I was like, this is not it for me. Let me try to create something. And it was really just casual. I didn't expect it to blow up as big as it did. I was really just searching for that sense of community that I couldn't find. And apparently other women too were too, because it really just blew up and took off.
We're gonna pause right there. All right, so just to recap what you said. So during COVID, you were looking for just a community of women because it is difficult, as a woman. We'll get into that. But you were looking for a community. So, and you were saying that like the Facebook groups and things that you were seeing online, they were like catty and messy. So you basically decided to start your own group, right?
Yes.
So before we get into the group, you mentioned college. So where did you go?
Okay, so I am the queen of taking gap years.
Mm-hmm.
I started at Berkeley online. And I'm still trying to finish up, but life has just been crazy. But I had 3 years in there.
Okay. I mean, it's so many ways and paths to get to like
Mhm.
where you're trying to go when it comes to either success or just having like a fulfilled life. So I always like to ask, where you fall in that journey. So what are you interested in? Like, I know that you are interested or you have the talent or the gift of like singing and songwriting, but where do your interests lie in general when it comes to creativity?
I feel like I am a dope writer. Writing is definitely my thing. Whether it's like writing captions or writing music or even writing books, like writing is my thing. When it comes to writing, I can do that. That's where I feel like I fall in. But I'm really just an all around creative person. Any like little DIY projects, or even if it's like sketching little outfits. I remember being 13, I just knew that I was gonna be on Project Runway. Um, so really in any realm, I'm really creative. I feel like I'm blessed with creativity in all realms, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's producing these events. That's really just where I am. I'm really all over the place.
So when it comes to the Facebook group, so you have Goalfriendz, but also you curate events.
Yes.
So was there a specific skill set that you already had when it came to like organizing people, or is this something that you learned on the fly as your group grew?
So yes, that's very interesting that you asked that question. So I used to do kids parties, decorating, like making treats for sweets tables and things like that. I used to do that prior to me having the girlfriend. So it was kind of a natural transition to do adults events.
Okay, so it was just a natural transition. So getting back to the group Goalfriendz, because this is something that struck me. So how did you choose the name? Why did you choose the name Goalfriend?
I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. I wanted some friends that I could tackle goals with, and still have that friendship and still have the business-minded aspect of it all, but still at the end of the day, we're friends.
Gotcha. So tell me about your journey as you began to like when you started this group in COVID, what was the climate? Kind of what were some of the things that you had to do? And then, to where we are now with the group.
So the growth I feel like happened organically just with it being COVID. I feel like a lot of businesses prospered during COVID just because people couldn't go outside. But we started out as a public group, and I always tell people when they telling me they're trying to start a group, make your group public so people know that you're there. People can share your post, people can share the engagement and everything that's going on. I always say start out public. So we started out public, and then we grew to I think maybe about 20,000, and then we went private, and then still there are requests because they knew what was going on from it being public before, so they wanted to be a part of that and follow the journey from there.
Gotcha. So you started with the public group and then you went to private. What were some of the roadblocks that you faced with growing your Facebook group from just that first like milestone from 0 to 20,000? Like you said, a lot of people were on Facebook during COVID. Was there a point in time where that kind of slowed down, or has it been like steady growth throughout?
So there was steady growth that first year, and then we hit 50K. No, I think we're actually around almost 70K. We're like 69.9K. And the first group, a lot of people don't know this, the first group got shut down by Facebook. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so after that first group got shut down because Facebook really had strict rules back then that they don't have for admins now.
Mm.
Thankfully, so we got shut down and we couldn't get it back, and it wasn't even on us. It was something that another user had posted, but since an admin approved it, it got taken down. And they were like, "You're not getting it back. Review the decision. You're not getting it back." So that was tough to go from 70K to go back down to zero, but luckily we had loyal supporters and they helped us get it back up. Um, so yeah, that was definitely a big challenge for us to get through, but we got past it.
So how did you do that? So was it that you everything was shut down, but you just started over and like you said, the support was there, so people started filing in? Was there any other difficulties with like rebooting or getting people re-engaged in that way?
So with the loyal people that were there, they knew me and they knew of what the Goalfriendz was. But after we restarted it up, I feel like the engagement did lack just because it wasn't so tight knit as it was before. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm always constantly having to reintroduce myself and let people know like what's going on with the group and what the group is about, just because there is that disconnect out, because before we were just really tight knit because it started off so small and then it grew, but everyone still pretty much knew each other, and I knew names and faces too. I really can't point out a lot of names and faces now as much as I could before, so that's definitely a thing.
Yeah. But that just talks about like whether it's a Facebook group or a business, there are
Mhm.
going to be stages with that, and you have to be able to like navigate the growth as things scale up. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about some of the creative ideas that I think you came up with or implemented with Goalfriendz. So let's talk about the content party. um, what sparked that idea for you to have that? And why do you think it's important for us to have events like that in the first place?
So with the content party, I really had no idea the content parties were that important until we had it. Um, because so many women post, I need help with content. I don't know what to post. I don't know how to take pictures. And it was like, well, a lot of us are having this problem. Let's all get together and brainstorm together and figure out what we can do to post more. Even myself, I do not post at all. And everybody gets on me. My management gets on me. My friends get on me like, you have to post. You have all this content you don't post. And it's like, well, I don't know when to post or how to post. Or even if I'm taking pictures, should I pose like this? Should I pose like that? So I feel like that's really good for us to just come together and brainstorm and create different things, even things that we didn't even know. Because a lot of the TikTok trends that happen, I don't know what's going on until I go to a content party. They're like, let's do it. Even UT, I remember you had us doing TikToks I didn't even know anything about at the content party that you came to. And then, especially when it comes to like business owners, there are models and branding ambassadors at the event, so they can have them model their clothes or advertise for them. And nobody's ever like, okay, it's a fee for that. It's like, you're at the content party, I'm going to help you and you can help me.
Yeah, and I thought that was such a wonderful idea. And I think we need more um engaging and like innovative events like that, where it's not so much about people coming together to be like talked at or um we all sitting in the room looking pretty, but you leave with an actual result.
Right.
So I thought that was extremely valuable. So when it comes to, because the other thing that I like that you introduced with the Facebook group. Oh, before we get there, so just so everybody knows what the content party is, what is like your definition to just let people know who've never experienced something like this?
So we get together, we take TikToks, we do reels, we take photos. It's really just a day for you to batch plan your content for whenever you want to post it. Even if you just have a personal page, you want to be an influencer. Okay, bring your outfits, do a few different outfit changes, link up with somebody, take group pictures, take reels, different things like that. And we just all get together and we do it together.
Yeah, that was a great explanation.
Yeah, we definitely have some mimosas.
Oh, that was the one thing, y'all. I walked in the room, I saw the different flavors and the champagne. I was like, oh yeah, this is where I need to be. But all right, so let's talk about something else that I think is cool with the Facebook group. Um, is that you have started to introduce chapters. Can you talk to me a little bit about that idea and concept? And how has that journey been for you?
Yes, so we have chapters now in Chicago, Atlanta, and in Houston. Just because with us having that first content party and then the first brunch after that, there were so many women in different cities saying, I want that here. I want that here. How can I build that here? So we had the most traction in the city, Chicago, Atlanta, and Houston. So we just transitioned there. And every month we have a different event in each city and the women meet up. And then even if it's not a formal meetup, they'll just go somewhere together, or either we'll have like a virtual workshop or something during Zoom. So it's really that sisterhood in person. We take that virtual sisterhood that we have online and transition into in person.
Yeah. So with all of these different factors when it comes to like running the Facebook group, but also being an artist, how has it been for you to balance these things?
I'm definitely learning. Balance is something that was on my vision board for this past year. Just because it can get hard, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're just running everything by yourself. Luckily, I have been able to have different women in other cities that are able to help and be brand ambassadors or chapter leaders. But it's definitely hard. I definitely feel like you have to have good time management skills. And my planner, I have the Booked and Busy planner. If y'all don't have that, I definitely recommend that. I am a planner girl. I have to write it down. And that's the only way. And me, I have to make a presentation about everything that's going on, whatever project. I have to make a presentation. My life is just a slideshow now. I have to have a slideshow and I have to see it. So that's definitely my thing. I have to.
Okay. That's interesting because I hear a lot of people that are just like visual people. So it's interesting to hear you say that like your life is a slideshow now, or you just have to have some type of presentation to go along with everything that's happening. Um, that's cool. So when it comes to like balancing all these things, like you mentioned having like time management skills and you're a planner girl. I'm not a planner girl. I am a tech girl, techie. So I live by like my Google Calendar and electronic notes and things like that. Um, I'm getting back to like writing things down, but it's more so for my ideas and like recaps of things in conversations or meetings that I want to just have in the back of my mind. But I do know a lot of girls who are planner girls. It's I don't know, it's like you're probably gonna be either or. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
me when it comes to my Google Calendar, I if I don't write it down on my dry erase board, I'm not gonna remember unless I put it in my phone. If I put it in my phone, I'll know. But if I have it on my Google Calendar, I'm not gonna remember. Somebody's gonna have to remind me.
Yeah. That's like the only thing. See, I have my Google Calendar on my screen,
Mhm.
on my phone, but that comes with other issues because like you mentioned, if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it's just hard to like cut things off.
Yeah,
So like I'm always like with my phone and like, oh, I gotta do this, gotta do that.
definitely a thing. I try to set my hours though, even though
Hmm.
sometimes I'll notice myself being up to like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's like, well, you said you were gonna stop doing this at this time, and now you're back doing it.
Right. But that goes into, see, I was gonna ask you, are you full time? Like, are you a full-time entrepreneur or do you have like some other 9 to 5 or, side gigs going on? Because when it comes to balance, um, as a creative, I just find it's a little bit different for us.
Mhm. So I definitely freelance events, but still that's creative.
Hmm.
So like I said, I'm full-time with creativity. So but yeah, it's definitely a balance, just balancing all of that. Even when it comes to my events and other events, it's really hard to try to separate that.
What do you mean?
Um, just turning off the creativity for my event and then having to be creative for another event and like the different aspects of it. Cause it's like sometimes, okay, let's just say when it comes to like me doing music, sometimes I have to write for a man. So I kind of have to turn me off in the female aspect and try to think like a man.
Yeah. So, okay, wait. So when it comes to the writing, you write music for other people. So I do want to touch on that. But going into this like event space, and this is a cool episode if y'all are listening in or watching. This is a cool episode because this is two creatives having a conversation and it's kind of like floating around with different topics, but literally that's how it is a lot of times when you are a creative. You have like a bunch of different things on your plate. You have ideas that are like floating around in your mind, things you need to accomplish. So going back to just the event curation part. So you have the Facebook group, right? And like you said, you're a full-time creative, so you curate events. What do you think is the most difficult part about curating events in general?
Um, I feel like the back end. Because I always like to jump into like the pretty parts and the aspects of it, but when it comes to like budgeting and organizing different vendors and setting up ticket prices and dealing with different venue owners and things like that, I feel like that's the thing for me that I don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just I like to jump into, okay, I'm gonna decorate like this, and we're gonna have these cocktails, and then this person's gonna come, and we're gonna have this backdrop. That's what I like to do. That makes me happy. But all of the back end stuff, I hate doing that.
So what's your workaround when it comes to like doing the back end stuff?
I now have a chapter leader in each city. So that's now pretty much their job to do. So I don't have to do as much of it now.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I would be happy doing that.
right. You know, it's interesting. So, if you don't know much about my background, you just happened upon this episode. I've been curating events as well for the last, I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna put 10 on it. It might be longer, but we're not gonna talk about age. So, so over the last, 10 plus years, and like you said, like there's different aspects of event planning. So at one point, it's like, yeah, I'm really into the experience,
Mhm.
the visuals, the vibes. And then, like you said, on the back end, so my husband and I, we curate something called Shop Blackfest. So on the back end, when I started working with logistics with that and like hosting events in different cities and all of that, that part is tricky.
Mhm.
And I feel like, and this is a rule for any entrepreneur or creative, once you figure out, like, I think it's important for you to wear all the hats and do all of the jobs, but you still have to figure out what your strengths are, what you're good at, and what you like doing so that you can start to outsource your weaknesses and things that you don't like doing. And I think a lot of times we get caught up trying to do everything extremely well. And that hurts with when it comes to curating events or running a business from my perspective. What are your thoughts on that?
You'll definitely get burnt out trying to wear the hats for everything. So I'm definitely big on outsourcing. Our last event was the first event that I was able to outsource, even when it came to like the decorating. Usually I'm at the event early decorating, I'm there cleaning up. This past event was the first event that I didn't have to do anything but show up. And I'll definitely be doing that moving forward just because then I'm able to focus on, okay, making sure I can get around to attendees and making sure they're enjoying themselves and different things like that. And then even when it comes to like our sponsorships and brand partnerships, I'm able to focus more on that than focusing on the day of.
The day of and like logistics and all of those minute details. Um, that's interesting that you say that because again, this can be applied to any aspect of like whether you're a business owner, um, someone who, well, you are a business owner if you're creating events or consulting, but whether you're an entrepreneur or somebody that's working like going the corporate route, have a 9 to 5, like it's important to relieve yourself of things that are just time consuming, but not the best way for you to use your time. So like
Mhm.
you said, like being able to just show up um is the ultimate goal I think that we should all have. And that goes into a conversation of like, how do you get to that point? And for me, like this year, I've had to really focus on like processes, procedures, um, making sure that what's in my head is actually on paper, um, becoming a better leader and somebody that can communicate the vision to other people so they can have buy-in. So are these like some of the things that you've had to work on when it comes to growing like your Goalfriendz group and getting, chapter the chapter representatives and things like that?
So yes, I definitely agree with you with becoming a better leader because with us being the goal friends, I had to differentiate. Okay, yes, we are goal friends. We can be cool. That's great. But at the end of the day, this is a business and you do have to do your role. Like you signed up to do this, so you absolutely have to do this. You can't call me and be like, hey, and just make an excuse about it and you signed up to do it. So definitely becoming a leader has been like I me leadership conferences and leadership books, like that's definitely been my thing because there has to be a line between being friendly and being effective. And
Ooh, that's a bar. Say it again.
there has to be a line between being friendly and being effective. So that's definitely been I'm gonna say it's been a struggle just gotten that, especially with me being so young and people are older than me. And it's like, who is this little girl trying to tell me what to do? So that definitely plays a factor in it as well. Um, what was the question again, T? I lost it somewhere.
Oh no, I was just asking you like were those some of the things that you had to work on? But it brings me into this so I was having a conversation with my mentor yesterday, and one of the things we were talking about was the importance of personal and professional development or becoming like a lifelong learner. And a lot of times we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about uh elevating yourself, manifesting things, living your best life, whatever. But nobody really talks about the work that it takes to become a better person day in and day out. Like they may see you, like for instance, they may see you with Goalfriendz and like having that group that's, so large, or they may see me um as a full-time entrepreneur with the businesses that I have, but they don't see the hours and hours where I'm studying about marketing or watching videos or reading books, and trying to figure out all of those little nuanced things to like move forward in the journey. So yeah, I was just asking you about like how has it been for you? Is personal and professional development something that you work into your life on a daily basis or consistent basis?
Definitely on a consistent basis, because I always tell my girl this, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to be full first before you just try to give everybody everything. So I'm always reading a self-help book all the time, any business book and podcasts too. Now I love me a good true crime podcast, but I'm trying to
Me
I'm
too, girl.
yes, I'm trying to add a dash of business podcast in there because yes, I always say that I'm always learning. If you get to the point that you feel like you can't learn anything, there is a problem. So I'm definitely always down to learn.
Yeah. And I think that's that's just a certain mentality that you have to cultivate within yourself, because I think as a society we've been taught to not want to learn. It's kind of like we are taught to like turn our brains off to focus on other things, but not necessarily learning, or continuing to learn. So
Always say that to please do not look at me and feel like I have it all figured out or I know everything or have it all together because I'm still figuring out just like you. Now I can help you along the way, but I listen, I'm learning myself.
yeah, I feel the same way. And I feel that it's important to say that and keep saying that. Like, we don't have it all together, but the most effective thing that we can do is show our journey, show, how we've been able to overcome things, or uh just really like it's like you are on the ride with us on the way up.
Right.
So you in the car with us, and you gonna see everything. This is what it is. And I think it's important to have people like us, um important for us to have those voices out there, because yeah, social media just it makes people believe all type of stuff.
Yes, they will make their own narrative in their head. And it's like, when did I say that? Did I say that? I don't remember saying that. You assume that, but I didn't say that. So yeah, social media will definitely have people just delusional.
Delusional. That's that was the 2023 word, delulu, delusional.
Yes.
So let's wrap this up by talking about some of the things that you've learned in general as somebody who is pursuing creativity full time. Give me the top three lessons that you've learned, big or small, but have made an impact in how you show up in the world as a creative.
My top one for this year is utilizing your network. Just because I would know certain people and I know that they can help me to be like, I don't want to ask them for that. I don't want them to feel like I don't know that or I need help or I'm needy or something like that. So that's definitely been my thing, utilizing my network because now that I've asked, I've got the answers that I needed. I've got things done that I needed, and people will be willing to help you, but you have to open your mouth and tell them, hey, I need help in this area. So definitely utilizing your network. And I always tell people, don't feel like anybody is too big that they're not going to help you, because they can say no, but they could also say yes. So don't just X out the opportunity for yourself, because it could be everything you wanted it to be.
Ooh, that was a bar. That was a
Yeah.
bar. And I can relate. I think that that's a, if you can learn that lesson earlier on, it'll make your life so much easier because we waste a lot of time spinning our wheels or being too prideful
Right.
to
Yeah.
let other people know that we need help when it's so many people out there that are like, they on the ready
Right.
to
It's like,
help
I
you.
just ask, I would have helped you do that. So definitely utilizing your network. Also for me has been time management, allocating time for certain projects. Because when you have so many projects going on at one time, you can just be all over the place. And I found myself jumping, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I just feel like I'm in a hamster wheel and I don't know what's happening. So definitely knowing, okay, I'm gonna work on a Goalfriendz project maybe from 9 to 10, and then I'm gonna do music from this time. So definitely time management skills. And then what else? I feel like trusting your gut is the last one for me. And if I don't know what your beliefs are, but me, I am a God girl, and if God tells me to move, then I'm gonna move. Whatever that voice is for you, whether it's the universe, whether it's the light, whether you feel like it's the God in you, you just need to move. If it tells you to move, move. Don't hesitate. Don't think about I don't have the resources or I don't know how I'm gonna do it. If there's something in you that's telling you to move, you need to move and act on it in that time.
Ooh, that's so good because I was having this, I have a lot of these conversations, right? But it was a conversation, it was a realization that I had about myself. So say 2022, 2023, for some reason, it was all about proving myself to other people. So whether that was like naysayers or like I was proving myself to corporate America because I left and I was like, I ain't coming back. I was proving myself to my family and friends and peers about being an entrepreneur. Like I could do this and I could do it well. I was proving myself to my husband, and people around, like I could be a superwoman wife. You know, I could wear all the hats, I could do everything. Um, Trying to be a super volunteer, super this, super that. And I just came to a realization that at this point in my life, I don't have to prove anything to anyone but myself and God. So trusting yourself becomes easier when and trusting the voice that what like you said, whether that's from God or your internal thing or whatever you believe in, when you start to take the light off of other people or when you start to take your focus off other people and start to really focus on what makes you special, unique, and what God really put inside you, like as far as your purpose, everything else just becomes like white noise. It's
Right.
like it's so much easier to move and make decisions.
You can just
And yeah,
on.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's definitely been a process in the journey, because I will always be okay. Let me ask this one what they think, or this one what they think. It was like, well, what do you think, Shiondria? And when I started putting myself first and thinking about what I wanted for me, things just become a lot more clearer.
Yeah. And I think as a creative, it's easy to fall into that trap of, like you said, what do you think? What do you think? Or is this the right move? Is this the right content to post? Is this the right story to be telling? Is this the right project to work on? Whatever. And it's like at this point, it's right because God gave you the opportunity. He put it in your mind. He gave you the vision. He put that person in your ear. You know what I'm saying? To say, oh, you're good at this, or you should try that. Go for it. It's like I feel like I spent a lot of time not fully committing 100% to things because I didn't trust my instinct the way that you're saying.
Yeah, and I
So,
was just having this conversation earlier. My sister was saying that people always pray and they'll be like, I want this. And we gotta be like, okay, go after it. And then the time will come and they delay, they procrastinate doing it, and then they pray and they try to go get it. And it's like, well, God lied to me. It's not that he lied to you, he told you when to go do it, and you didn't go do it at that time. And your timing was then. And you wasted that time and you could have had everything you wanted, but you wanted to procrastinate and not listen to him and what he said do.
oh, we speak it. Look, this is a word because that's so true. That is so so true. When you are so, it was something. You know, I hope that sound didn't pop in, but um, I watch a lot of like I guess gurus, speakers, people that are just talking about, different things when it comes to personal and professional development. But that is another nugget. It was the quote was something like, if you spend your time, like some people spend their time like, I'm gonna do the website, I'm gonna do the logo, I'm gonna come up with this long drawn out plan, or I'm gonna sit here and procrastinate, but they don't actually do or take
Mhm.
the step. It's like, why are you just sitting here playing? You
Exactly.
you know subconsciously that you just prolonging the process by trying to get all these things perfect, or brainstorm. So stop playing yourself and just go take the leap and take the first step, and like you said, trust your instinct.
That definitely used to be me. I needed to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A through Z together before I started something. And then I look on it and I'm like, oh, they did that. That was my idea. And it was like, well, if you would have acted on the idea when you were supposed to act on the idea instead of waiting for everything to be perfect, then you would have been able to get it out there. And that was my thing with music too. I wanted the music to sound perfect. Like I wanted it to sound like Beyonce's records, not realizing that Beyonce has put years in. It's not gonna sound like that. You got to put something out and then work and build towards that.
Oh, that's so good. And that goes across, you know, any industry, whether you are an artist, business owner, student,
Mhm.
whatever. Like, you have to work at things and
Definitely.
constantly improve it, not just wake up or roll out of bed and you just
Yeah,
got
yeah, that's not how it works.
but it's so much pressure because that's what we see online.
Especially with social media, everything just seems like everything is perfect, and half of the time it's not.
Yeah. So, okay. So, y'all, this was a good conversation. So, I want to close this out with one final word from Shiondria. What is the most inspirational message that you can leave with our Cool Girls Create audience?
It'll definitely go back to just trusting your inner voice, whatever that is, and just acting on things and not procrastinating when it comes to them. And nothing has to be perfect. If you feel like it's good, then put it out there. Somebody may look at it and feel like it's amazing, and you're sitting there just doubting yourself. So definitely just to trust yourself and stop waiting on things to be perfect.
And there you have it. That was a great message. I think that's one of the most important things that you can learn and apply in your life. And I don't have anything to add to that. So, if you were tuned in with us today, we talked a little bit about the power of Facebook groups. But really the message today was about trusting yourself, taking those first initial steps that you need to take to ultimately get things done and get to the life that you want to have. Like, you are in control of your life, you're in control of your destiny. So uh T and Shiandria gonna need you to start acting accordingly, especially going into the new year. So that's all I have. T, Shiandria signing out. See y'all later.